Morning, my name is Mike DeLacluse, President of Lesman Instrument Company. I'd like to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us for Transmitter Specification Made Easy. Writing specifications for transmitters is a critical component in instrumentation planning and design, so it's important to get it right. Today you'll be introduced to some free online tools that take the headaches out of writing specifications for Honeywell smart transmitters for pressure, level, and flow. In our 45-minute session, we'll cover writing some complete specifications for smart transmitters, some model selection and chemical compatibility information, step-by-step selection of options critical to your design, some online tools for model number validation and automatic specification generation, and at the end, we'll have a question and answer session. Our presenter today is Chris Goepper from Honeywell. Chris has been working in the manufacturing industrial sales for the past 25 years and has been in process instrumentation for the last 10 years. Prior to joining Honeywell in 2015, he was regional sales manager for WICA. He holds a bachelor's degree in applied science from Central Michigan University and a master's from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. You'll also notice that Chris is the proud father of an Olympian and X Games winner. His son is there on the right. So with that, I'll let you take it away, Chris.
All right, thanks, Mike. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us this morning. Yes, on screen is a proud father moment. I use it as a little tongue-in-cheek segue that you could finish on the podium with using Honeywell products, as Mike said. Nick is on the right. This was in February in Norway at the European X Games, which is the equivalent of ESPN's Winter X Games. Nick had a great time and got his second favorite color. So with that, let's move along. What I'm going to talk with you today is about Honeywell's application verification tool. In short, it's a configurator. Used to configure pressure transmitters, temperature transmitters, and also guided wave radar level. There will be other versions coming out for other projects in the near future. I don't have a date at this time, but Lesman will be able to make you aware of those as they come on the marketplace. It's an online tool that anybody can use. First, just a little bit about SmartLine, which is Honeywell's platform for instrumentation. As you can see on top left, pressure in the middle is wireless, and then on the right is temperature. You'll note that they do all look the same. Honeywell re-engineered this product line about 3.5 years ago. It had been a line which had been on the market for many years, extremely solid. I've seen many examples of our previous generation of transmitters in chemical plants and refineries 10, 15, and 20 years old, still working as if they were new. Honeywell understood the need to make some changes, and they did. You'll see in the center, all designs are a modular platform now with the display, the communication board, the 3-button interface on top, and the terminal block all removable. The display, the communication board, and the configuration buttons on top are all removable and replaceable while the unit is powered. The terminal block is the only one that when replaced, you need to power down a transmitter. And one thing for you to pass along to some of those that are on the electrical sides of your business, today you cannot wire a Honeywell transmitter wrong. They have what is called polar insensitivity. So if you switch the wires, they're still going to work just fine. Okay. What the AVT or the application validation tool does is it allows the user to generate a part of their liking completely In fact, at the end, you can order it and you can determine which channel partner of Honeywell's you'll be doing business with. Typically, EPCs, engineering folks from a variety of different places, maintenance, or any customer can use these. What I have found in my experience is the guys at the EPC firms really like this because it's something simple that they can go to online. They do not have to make a phone call or generate an email to anyone and then wait for a response. This is something that any engineer can do as long as they're connected to the internet. Now what we will do is we will move to an example right away and get started. Let's see here. When you click on the link that I showed just a second ago, and that can be provided by Mike, you will come up to a screen something like this. And you can scroll down and you can pick one of 3 different types of instruments to configure. So what we'll do is we'll get started and we'll take a look at trying to configure a pressure transmitter. The first screen that you will see is an opportunity to select the different types of units that might be used. So for our example, we'll keep it simple. We'll go to pressure. If there's going to be a temperature displayed, we'll make sure it's in Fahrenheit. And even though in pressure there's no length in units, I'll just switch it to inches just for the heck of it. Go down a little bit further, and a variety of different types of pressure transmitters we could pick from. For our example, we'll just select gauge pressure. And then you move to a screen which shows you the 3 different types of pressure transmitters that you can begin selecting and building. On the left, or excuse me, I'm going to start on the right. The STG 800 is the high quality, high-end line. As you will see as we go through a couple of the drop downs, it has the most features and benefits. For most applications, customers will use the STG 700. And then for typically OEM or large volume, I'll just call them vanilla applications, the STG 700 Basic. So as you can see, there are differences: stability, response time, big difference in turn down. If you go with the 800, it's 4 times the turn down, and also an extra 1,500 pounds in static pressure. But let's take a look at the differences in, first of all, protocols. You'll see all 3 are supported by HART. Only the 700, 800 are supported by Honeywell's proprietary communication DE and also Foundation Field Bus. The only 2 are the 700, 800. If we move down and take a look at the types of configuration tools that can be used, a handheld can be used on all 3, but a computer can only work on the 700 and the 800. And then you can see if there's external configuration. There is a 2-button module offered for the 700 and a 2 and a 3 button offered for both the 700 and 800. The Basic only has a 2-button available. Different types of displays. You'll see the differences. Alphanumeric and LCD for both 700 and 800. And the really advanced display, which gives you lots of cool graphics, only available on the 800 display. Next, we take a look at material options. You'll see the differences there for the 3 different types of transmitters and fill fluids available. And we'll just click on options at the bottom so you can see some of the differences. Tags, extended warranties available, etc. Okay. Moving back up. So we're going to pick the 700 middle line, and we will configure that one. Now, when you move to this particular page, you will still see we are in the introduction section. We could read through that, which we won't at this time. It will ask for your email address. I will type in mine. I'm going to accept the privacy statement. I'm not going to log into extra communications because as an employee, I get plenty of them already. Quick description. Just something very simple there. And then we will click to next. Okay. Certifications. Since we're doing water, pretty simple. No area certifications would be needed, so I will not check anything else. I'm not going to ask for any certifications, any additional certs here, any standards. That takes us to the next screen. And you'll notice as we move along from tab to tab, you will see that the model number is now being built along as we continue to configure the transmitter for our application. So I'm going to select an inline model for this example. My orientation, we'll just select standard. And range and span. We might get a little pressure there, so I'm going to move it up to 500 pounds, upper range limit. Factory standard calibration, we will leave that without changing. Settings, we're not going to change anything there. And then let's move on to the next step. Again, you'll see we are building out the part number as we go along. All right, body selection I'll leave as 316 stainless. Diaphragm, same as stainless. Fill fluid, we'll just use standard silicone. Process manifold connection size, we'll leave it as a female. Won't change anything on gaskets, bolts, and nuts. Venting, not needed on this one. So we'll click next. The housing material, standard is powder coated aluminum. We will leave that. Our connection type, we'll leave it at 1/2 inch NPT. This is going to be, for this example, a lightning protection. I will want that needed because I'm going to suggest that my particular application is outdoor. You can add that, and when you do, one thing to keep in mind is that Honeywell's transmitter will take a full strike and keep on running. You'll see next our communication output is pre-selected at heart. I'm not going to change that. My fail mode, I'll leave it high, and also leave my right protection as is. I'm going to want a standard display as opposed to a blind display. which is what is selected. There we go. And I'm not going to need any buttons for this one. I'll leave the 3-button module off of it. And we'll keep this in English. And I will click Next. Now, as you can see, we're getting close to getting done with this part number. Mounting bracket. Oftentimes, mounting brackets are used. I'll leave it standard for the angled mounting bracket. As you notice, there's one marine approved. There's also a flat version. But since this is going to be outdoors, I'm going to change this to stainless steel. So my bracket holds up a little bit longer. And I'm going to put a conduit adapter in there just for the heck of it. There we go. I'm going to add a tag so that in case somebody in the field, one of my technicians, needs to take a look and relay that information back, he can. And I'm not going to worry about the extended warranty on this because I know that my transmitter is going to last a very, very long time. All right. Looks like we're almost there. Now you'll notice that when we get to this part, you have the option of placing an order. There's a little tab right here. It's giving you the complete part number and tells you, reviews all the different things that we selected. Everything from process head materials, fill fluid, process connection, etc., approvals, and you can do a quick review of what you have assembled for your pressure transmitter. Now, let's hit place order. Let's see what happens. Now, when I do begin order, it states here, it locks the application. You can't make any further edits. So before you do that, make sure you go back, review the summary of all your selections and specifications for the transmitter, and then we'll hit begin ordering. Now, right here, you can print it. You can ask questions to a support contact if you like. And right here is where you, if you wanted to place an order, you would go through your local Honeywell distributor. So we'll click on there. And I believe it will generate back to you a message on how to find your local Honeywell distributors. No, it won't. There we go. We go down here at the bottom and select, I forgot about that. Country will be in the United States. State, Illinois. Industry, chemicals. And I'm going to put in my name. My email address. My phone number. And I'm going to ask that he contact me. And I'm going to tell them that I'm not a bot. And then we'll play around with the whole street sign thing. And hopefully this works the first time. And we will send it in. And Mike DeLacluse will be calling me or contacting me shortly. And as simple as that, you receive a call from a local Honeywell representative, and you can place an order that way. You could probably also contact Lesman electronically on their website and do the same thing because you've got the part number that you need. So let's go back. And we're going to go back to real quick. If I can get to it. We're going to go back to level. And we'll walk partway through level. Level is pretty sharp. So we will go down this time, and I will walk you partway through selecting a product, guided wave radar product for your application. So we'll pick PSI again. We'll just go back to Fahrenheit and pick inches and get rid of my Groupon announcement. All right. And because we are looking to measure level, we're going to now configure for it. Now we're going to go through my application. And we will get started. You notice up the top, just like we saw in the pressure transmitter example that we went through, there's a number of different tabs, steps that we will go through. So I'm going to put in my email. I'm going to accept all the good stuff. I'm just going to do something simple, measuring water in a tank. We will pick Fahrenheit. We will pick PSIG, and we will pick, let's see, we'll pick inches for this for now. Now let's get started. As you'll see here, top left, we are all set up to begin configuring a product or product number for our Smart Line level instrument. And as we start to move down, you will see that the first thing we're going to do is select the type or the shape of our tank that we're going to measure, in which we're going to measure the water level. So we'll pick a cylindrical tank, no bypasses, something with a flat top. And as you'll see on the right, as we do it, it's building it right now. It's showing us what type of tank that we have, and a flat bottom. And then we will click next. Okay, so our diameter, I'm going to change my diameter here to feet. There we go. We'll make our diameter 15 feet. And our height, change to feet, we'll make it 25 foot high. There we go. Now, as we all know, many times there are obstacles in a tank. It could be something sticking out. It could be an agitator of some kind, a ladder. It could be something hanging in the tank. So for now, let's just choose an obstacle that might be in this tank. And we'll choose a ladder. There's a ladder to get down to the bottom in case we've got to go investigate something, in case something falls. All right. Let's say our ladder is 24 inches in width, and our height of the ladder is 23 feet tall, and we'll leave the depth at where it is right now. Now, for right now, it is set in the bottom center. So we want to offset that. If I can, all right, in our X direction. And we can see that down here, barely see it. Let's see, since I can't see it, we're gonna, all right, so we'll make that offset 6 feet because it's in the center right now. And my Y direction, we'll leave it at in feet. Let's see, and then Z direction we will leave the same. And the rotation we won't change. And as you can see, things are moving along and changing in our graphic view of the tank and also in our part number here. Now, since we've only got water, single liquid, all right, and we get an opportunity to select a product here. So let's see where we can find water. See if it's going to be at the bottom. There we go. Water at pretty much ambient conditions is what we'll select. And notice that it fills in our dielectric constant right away, which is very, very important. Viscosity, we will leave this time. Any vapor that's in there, it's just air. Dielectric is 1. It pre-fills for you. Notice we have to determine if there's any special characteristics of the water, whether there's any steam, maybe there's a little bit of foam, something like that in this particular tank. But we don't need that for now because we're just looking at water. Okay. Now it's asking for temperature of the product. A minimum, we'll put in, we'll say 45 degrees Fahrenheit with a maximum of 80 degrees Fahrenheit. With our max the same as at the flange, they want to know that in case we have heat transfer up to the electronics of the unit. No pressure in the tank. We'll leave that at 0. And same here. And we will move along. And it shows us our sensor model as we do that. Okay. You could review really quickly your standard operating temperature and operating pressure before you take the next step. Notice where they put the ladder in right here. That is our obstacle. Process connection is very, very important. I'm going to pick a standard flange. This is really important to get correct. I was on an installation in November. The product was ordered. It arrived at site. The electrical was already run up to the top of the tank, and this was a 40-foot terminal tank. And so we hauled all the hardware up there, and I believe our hardware, the flange, it was a standard ANSI flange. I think it was 3-inch, 150-pound flange, and the one that was on the tank was, I believe it was 4-inch. So someplace in the specification phase of the project, somebody had missed the measurement. Short story is somebody had to order out an adapter. So we got the adapter, got it installed, had to make some changes during setup for blocking distance, and away we went, and it started up just fine. So very, very important when you take a look at when you select your flange to know what's going to be on that tank, so that the flange can be matched for the instrument when it arrives. We'll leave it as stainless steel for the process connection. And our size will be, we'll just pick 3-inch. Rating, 150-pound. Yes, it will be mounted to a nozzle. We'll leave the diameter at 3. The length of the nozzle we will select at 3 also. And if there's going to be an offset from center, we will say in this case it'll be 4 foot off center. Okay. We won't change anything as it relates to the rotation or the height. And as far as our level offset and product level, we see our maximum product level. I'm going to change that to feet. All right. And I think our tank was 25 foot, so we will say our maximum product is going to be 22 feet. For this application, a wire has been pre-selected for us, and we'll leave it in wire. That's probably all we're going to need for this. Notice it pre-selects the wire here for blocking and transition zones, and it's showing you that we'll come pretty close to the bottom when we do take our measurement. A wire here under probe. Look at our different selections here. We don't need a centering rod, so we will just leave it a single wire. Let's get rid of Land's End advertisement. And there'll be a weight at the bottom of it to hold it in place, keep it straight. We don't need a centering disc. The end of the probe touch a conductive surface. No. Okay. Looks like we've completed everything for this particular level application. All right. And we can do a quick review. It tells us that we've selected a vertical cylinder, flat top, flat bottom, 15 feet in diameter, 25 foot high, where the obstacles is, what type of obstacle, measurement right here of the obstacle, positioning of the obstacles, we can review the product in the tank, dielectric constant, viscosity, if there's a vapor present, etc. Minimum temperature, maximum temperature, double check our process connection, what we're going to be using, what's on the tank now, and what we need when the radar unit arrives so it will fit. Okay. It's mounted to a nozzle, all right, with 3-inch diameter. Length of transition of the nozzle is 3 inches, 4 foot off center. Shows its probe type or blocking distance, transition zone. And we've got a weight at the bottom, no centering disc needed. So, start configuration. Okay, now for the sensor, we'll build that up. Material, we'll just use Viton. We'll leave it as standard accuracy. Housing, we'll make that polyester powder coated aluminum. We'll leave it at 1/2 inch NPT. This will be an outdoor application, so I want my lightning protection option on this. 1 tag. We won't use conduit plugs. HART protocol, standard, because all my instruments in my plant are HART protocol. I do want a display up there in case my technician wants to go up and look at it. English is going to be my language. Local sensor buttons, yes, I do want those in case somebody wants to make a change and they don't have a handheld with them. Write protection, we'll leave that disabled for now. Fail mode, we'll have it fail on high. There we go. Configuration, we're not going to have anything custom on this. Since it's outside, I'm not going to worry about approvals. I'm not going to worry about any certifications for now. And I know it's going to last a long time, so I'm not interested in any additional warranty. And since our configuration is now complete and we look at our part number and it's filled out very nicely, click begin ordering. Just like in the pressure transmitter, when we click begin order, it locks in our level product that we have configured for our tank. So we begin the ordering process. We've got the part number. I can copy it to a clipboard and hold on to it if I want to send an email. I can print it, or I can go to, as we did with the pressure transmitter, go look for my local Honeywell distributor and fill that out. Now with that, I've been chatting and going through this configurator for about 35 or 40 minutes. So why don't I do this? If there have any questions, I'll open it up to that right now. One question that I usually get is, Chris, do you get a price on this? And you do not from the configurator. Typically the price is always given by the local channel partner because these products, all Honeywell instrumentation flows through the local channel partner. That is the business flow through that Honeywell uses their go-to-market.
Hey, Chris, in terms of the level devices, when you go through all that selection, do they come configured? Yes,
the unit will come configured for you. Now,
so they are pre-programmed.
Yeah, it'll be pre-programmed, but when the customer installs it, or if Honeywell is going to install it, all right, they will go through setup to make sure that the blocking distances are correct. Let me back off here. Let me make a correction. It won't be totally configured. When you get to the tank, the when you set it up and you start it, the first electronic pulse will tell you exactly where the level is at that time, and then you will set up the unit once it determines where the level of liquid is in the tank. So there is some setup required, because you never know when you install a unit what type of where the level of the liquid is in the tank.
Right, but it's minimal. It's you don't have to go through and program the whole thing.
That's correct.
Yeah.
No, the installation the installation is done on Packware, which is a free software.
Yep. Let me just check to see if there are any other questions. I do not have any other questions coming up at this time. So if you do have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Was there anything else you wanted to go through, Chris?
No, not at this time. I just I'll tell everybody, and also you, Mike, that the next phase of this is non-contact radar, and that's in the planning stages as we speak, but they don't have a release date.
Okay, very good.
Right.
I will take this back over then. We'll start to conclude. If there are any other questions as we wrap up, please feel free to send them through and we'll make sure they get answered. Chris, thank you very much for your presentation. Again, if there are any other specific application questions, feel free to give us a call. You can reach me at 800-9-LESMAN or 800-953-7626. If you do not know your account manager, just feel free to ask for me. You can also reach me at miked@lesman.com, which is my email. If you want to know more about the other technologies we supply, please follow us on social media. Dan's blog is very active and offers tons of great tips. All of our webinars are posted both on our website and on our Lesman Instrument Co. YouTube channel. If there are some topics you'd like to see us cover in our webinars, please send me an email with the subject. We have access to lots of product and process specialists, so just let me know and I'll make sure we get somebody lined up. Our next webinar is going to be the last week of July, and we're going to feature a technical specialist from Clark Reliance. We'll be discussing some of their products that are critical to boiler safety. A notice will be appearing shortly in your email box. At this point, let me just check to see if there are any questions, which I do not have any questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap up.